Could we be looking at the end of the console war as we know it? Well, we very might just be doing that if this has anything to say about that in the future. So I thought this was a very interesting story and something that a lot of people are talking about right now, because obviously this is like the top story. The old story was, hey, Xbox is kind of getting their butts kicked, and they're putting their games on PlayStation, etc., etc. That was the old story. I mean, look, listen, Microsoft, for all intents and purposes, has kind of thrown in the towel, but that doesn't mean that everything's over for sure. But I think maybe this would, and it's very interesting to see people kind of on board with this, and I'm sure you guys might agree with this, but this would be huge. There is an Xbox petition for Helldivers 2, and it's gone viral, and it's looking to maybe possibly end the console wars or redefine what we look at as console wars. Last week, as you know, Xbox's Phil Spencer shared his bemusement about Helldivers 2 not being available on Microsoft's platform, and now a bunch of Xbox fans have managed to make a petition about this go viral overnight. The petition is called Bring Helldivers 2 to Xbox, and it has almost 25,000 signees. And actually, I think it's over 30,000 right now. Most of them have signed at some point over the last 28 to 48 hours. Interestingly, the petition doesn't just focus on the game itself, but also highlights a desire for Sony to provide a turning point in the ongoing wars. Actually, I'm looking at this right now. 50,000 signatures, and their goal is 70,000. So yeah, very interesting to see that sort of happen the way that it has. And you would maybe not expect that, at least not in my world, because in my world, everybody's pissed off and angry all the time. And, mine, this game's mine, or this game's this, or whatever the case may be. The petition called Bring Helldivers 2 to Xbox and has, so many different signatures on it. As fans eagerly await the sequel, Helldivers 2, there's a resounding call for inclusivity and accessibility to extend beyond platform boundaries. The plea not only heralds the arrival of a beloved franchise on new formats, but also signifies a potential turning point in the ongoing console wars. The significance of Helldivers 2 extending its reach to Xbox cannot be overstated. It symbolizes a departure from the exclusivity-driven mentality that has fueled console wars for decades. Instead, it embraces a vision of gaming that celebrates diversity and collaboration across platforms by making Helldivers 2 available to Xbox players. PlayStation can take a bold step towards dismantling the barriers that have long divided the gaming community. So, if you look at some of the responses on the petitions themselves, they seem to be divided between people who simply want to play Helldivers 2 on their Xbox console and people who see this as a key opportunity to so-called change the console wars. Helldivers 2 would be an excellent cross-platform experience, bring the community together. This isn't the kind of game that needs to be exclusives, can understand single-player experiences, but with games like this, it would be amazing to bring to Xbox. Of course, we know that Xbox is planning to bring at least 4 first-party games to PlayStation and or Switch in the relatively near future. So it's understandable that we'll probably see some of their first-party games make the jump to Xbox in return, but not really, because Phil Spencer says don't hold your breath on that. Again, for what it's worth, Phil Spencer understands why Helldivers isn't on Xbox, and I'll be honest, as somebody who bought Helldivers 2 on PlayStation 5, it is a fun game. It is a game that is very tongue-in-cheek and kind of just a funny, well-made game. Would that do well on Xbox? I'm of two thoughts about it. I'm just being honest as an Xbox fan right here. I think that it could potentially do well for Xbox, but the problem is, up until recently, like before we got this news that Microsoft was going to do, a kind of a podcast the other week, I hadn't really thought about or seen a lot of people talk about their buying habits and things like that on Xbox, right? So, you hear the rumors, well, people on Xbox don't buy the games, people on Xbox don't do this, and then you kind of look at it and you go, is that really true? Because, I know myself, I buy a ton of games, and I also have Game Pass and enjoy Game Pass, but it's like, I thought everybody was kind of like that, to be honest with you, and I saw so many people, like, just be the total opposite of that, say they haven't bought games in 5 or 6 years on Xbox, and they literally only play what, Game Pass tells them to play. So, I don't know. I'm not going to sit there and say that that's wrong for people to do, but I just think that maybe that's not the smartest thing to do for a healthy ecosystem, I guess. And then you can also don't need to wonder why Microsoft is shopping their games elsewhere. It's because people are kind of playing their games through Game Pass instead of, I guess, purchasing them. So, I don't know. Like, it's interesting and kind of, to me anyway. Like, so I think that honestly, this thing would. I don't know if it would sell well on Xbox. I don't think Xbox has a huge install base, but maybe if it was in Game Pass day one, but I guess that would kind of defeat the purpose. So I don't know. I think it would be cool. Like, I definitely think some people would be into it, but I'm not sure that it would be the big resounding end to the console war that some people seem to think it has. Now, obviously, is Helldivers 2 going to come to Xbox? Sony has been porting some games to PC in recent years. It's made no indication that any of its titles will ever be released on Xbox, with the exception of PlayStation-developed MLB The Show. Even then, those Xbox ports are not actually published by Sony, but rather MLB Advanced Media. So while it's technically possible, fans probably shouldn't hold their breath on an Xbox port. Fan demand for Helldivers 2 Xbox port comes at a time when Xbox is obviously bringing its games to other platforms, which, again, things are changing in the industry. Will they ever kind of change back? I don't know, but Helldivers 2 has broken records, and listen, they're saying that it's not just this thing with the servers, right? Like the person in charge of Helldivers is saying, oh, it's not just this thing with the servers, it's not just buy more servers or get more servers. That's not the issue, apparently. So apparently it's just a big issue that was kind of unexpected, and it's not actually going very well for them. But the game is kind of breaking records everywhere, and again, I think that it's going to be one of those things where Microsoft is going to kind of miss out on this game, and they're probably going to miss out on games on other ways as well. So we'll see what's going to happen, and I think that that's probably just something that we're going to have to deal with sooner rather than later. I think we'll have to be very interesting to see what happens, but I don't see Sony completely ever, at least anytime soon, that there's only going to be able to see PlayStation games on Xbox or Nintendo. I don't see that happening. I just think that Sony is too much of a hardware company to ever really kind of be into that. Who knows what that would do to the console war? Probably not as much as Microsoft doing that. But again, we'll see what happens, and at the end of the day, I think that it's going to be interesting to see how people kind of react to it. But if you ask me, Helldivers 2 is a very good game, and it is a game that probably would do okay on Xbox, but I don't know that it would do great unless it was in like Game Pass or whatever. But I doubt that that's going to happen. But anyway, what do you guys think? Are you guys interested in Helldivers 2? Let me know. Sound off, rate, comment, subscribe. I appreciate everybody watching. If you enjoy the content, please leave a like and possibly consider subscribing. Crep Gamer out.